Hello everyone, Bob at Canada's Boxing Channel again. So this is a little sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of, what do we call it? A concern that Uncle Frank may be suffering from Alzheimer's disease possibly, or maybe just, I don't know, he's behaving in a way that's sort of weird. Now, Frank Warren, of course, is a very successful Hall of Fame promoter, the comeback kid in many respects. But recently, his behavior's been just weird. We had that performance where he was running around with the scorecard in the aftermath of the Usyk Fury fight, sort of trying to convince everybody that the judges had got it wrong. And as I pointed out in a previous video, to me, it looked like the guy you see on the side of the highway with a sign sort of, heading east or heading west or whatever. Just could look kind of weird. And then it carried on. And I've seen Frank Warren on a couple of the YouTube stations, channels rather, the big ones, Box Nation for one, and TalkSport, of course. And he's just been flogging this dead horse, as far as I'm concerned, about Fury being robbed. Although I think he's walked it back a little bit now. It's not actually a robbery, but really, there's a thing, sort of supporting your man or standing behind your guy, and the promoters, that's their job. But at a certain point, it becomes kind of stupid, I think, because people just look at it and say, well, it's just preposterous. And I think Frank's running into that risk now with his talk of how Fury, still won the fight against Usyk. But it's kind of maybe even a little bit more troubling is Frank's recent commencement of a lawsuit against Chris Eubank Jr. Now, this had been reported in the New York Times, and it had been reported, I think, in one of the British newspapers. But Joe Stunner Boxing did a very good video on it, and he's gone into it in more detail than I plan on going into it. But I will say a couple of things, and I feel like I'm almost qualified to speak about this. 1,000 years ago, in a previous life, I actually did a law degree. And so if Frank is suing under the tort of defamation for libel, I assume, although he might be catch-all calling it libel and slander, but it'll be libelous that he's claiming that Chris Eubank defamed his reputation, caused harm, loss of business, etc., so forth, I suppose. I haven't seen the statement of claim, but, you'll get the gist of it. And this comes out of Chris Eubank referring to Frank Warren and others in an impolite manner at a press conference. It was quite spectacular, actually. I'm sure we all saw it. He called Warren and other promoters scumbags, saving some nice commentary for Turki Al-Sheikh, and sort of okay about his current promoter, I think it's Ben Shalom. But he referred to Frank Warren and others as scumbags, which is certainly impolite. But one of the defenses to a suit of defamation is what's known as truth or justification. So it would be really interesting if this case gets to trial and Chris Eubank mounts a vigorous defense. We might see some juicy stuff coming out about how Chris Eubank's lawyers say, well, my client was justified in saying this because it's true. Now, I don't think it's going to go to court, personally. And if it did, and Chris Eubank was found to have defamed Frank Warren, the fact that he apologized, I think it was pretty much the same day, certainly walked it back, would, in my mind, reduce what kind of damages a judge is likely to award. But it's interesting why Frank clearly he's a litigious fellow. It's not his first rodeo in court. He's won some and he's lost some. I'm just wondering why he's doing this. Is it to maneuver for a different political outcome? I don't know. But I thought it was honestly, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's a nothing burger. Maybe it's got some legs, but I don't think so. But it just shows that Frank is behaving in a manner that's kind of hard to follow. And I'm sure that Uncle Frank doesn't care what I think, but Frankie, seriously, you'll live longer if you take things a little bit less to heart, okay? I know you've got the reputation of being bricktop, but, you know, you're what? You're in your 70s, 74, I think. Let it go. You'll live longer. Have a great day. Anyways, if you like this short video, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous day. Cheers.